I have 13 horror movies that you have to watch in December of 2024. What's up, cretins? What's up, creeps? My name is Chris. I'm the only person talking horror on the internet. From new releases to milestone anniversaries, from holiday celebrations to underseen exploitations, this is your calendar of carnage for December of 2024. I'm going to start your December to dismember off right on the week of December 1st with Silent Night, Deadly Night. Silent Night, Deadly Night tells the story of orphan Billy, who goes on a murderous rampage in a Santa Claus costume. It is the rare horror film that has the villain as lead, and it caused way too much fuss upon its November 9th, 1984 release. Yes, its anniversary was last month, but this is unquestionably a December watch. Celebrate its 40th this month. Movie number 2 on December 5th, I'm gonna need you to watch Mike Dougherty's Krampus. Contrary to both popular belief and what is displayed in the film, wherein Krampus visits and progressively offs a dysfunctional family on Christmas Eve, the original folklore has Krampus showing up weeks before on his own holiday, Krampusnacht. Krampusnacht is December 5th. Watch it or risk getting a visit from the Anti-Claus himself. If you survive to see December 6th, it is one of the most stacked horror theatrical release days of the year. Headlining the set will be Kyle Moody's Y2K, a theoretical what if the predicted Y2K disaster came to be on New Year's Eve 1999 and technology turned against humanity. As it is Kyle Moody, it will likely be comedy forward, as is the movie that you can double feature it with in theaters that day, Night Bitch. Night Bitch is a movie that was supposed to go direct to Hulu, but made enough waves on the festival circuit that this movie, starring 6-time Oscar nominee Amy Adams adopting canine traits, is getting a theatrical release. And in December, no less. Are they going for an Oscar nom with this? I don't think so. It kind of looks very Ginger Snaps, but in my 40s. So if you'd like to do a theatrical triple feature or a werewolf triple feature, there's a path to that, because also releasing December 6th, Werewolves. Director Stephen C. Miller, who brought us Automaton Transfusion and the 2012 Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, turns the subgenre on its head, having a supermoon trigger a gene that causes anyone who sees it into, you guessed it, werewolves. A year removed from that initial occurrence, Werewolves chronicles the lead-in to the next supermoon. I was skeptical on this movie at first, but I'm seeing more and more positive on it and more of the right people backing it. It's moved me from dismissive to curious. Now, if I have thrown too much for you in too short of a period of time, rest assured, all I've got for you for the week of December 8th is I want you to watch Deadly Games, aka 3615 Code Pere Noel, aka Dial Code Santa Claus, aka Hide and Freak, aka Game Over, aka call it whatever the fuck you want. The movie has like 18 different names. It is a French film about a kid booby trapping and fighting against a crazy man that wants to break into his house on Christmas. And if you're thinking what I thought the first time that I heard the premise of this movie, let me clear that up for you. Although this villain is far more foreboding than bumbling, yes, there were accusations and threatened lawsuits as this came out 20 months prior to Home Alone. If you ask me honestly, yes, I can see the comparison. Watch it in honor of its 35th anniversary, which was this past March. Let me know if you see it too. We're then going to slash our way all the way to December 17th for our 7th movie, which is going to be to rewatch or watch, but really? Terrifier 3. I doubt I have to tell you what this is, but here goes. Killer Clown brutally kills. We all wanted Christmas Terrifier for the Christmas season, and the 17th is when it hits physical media. Get your orders in now if you want the Steelbook, or if you want the Steelbook special edition of The Mean One, which is a horror take on How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which also stars David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, as a silent killer on Christmas. The Mean One is not required watching. I'm just doing you the solid letting you know that that's coming out. Terrifier 3 is already out for digital rental. I assume that Screambox is going to have it streaming free with your subscription before Christmas. Or if you've not heard, it's returning to theaters on Christmas Eve. Art bless us, everyone. And if you are a fan of Terrifier, on December 19th, I think you'd enjoy celebrating the actual 40th anniversary of the release of defamed British video nasty Don't Open Till Christmas. Now, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I personally am not a fan of this movie. I've seen it a few times. I can't get into it. I do find it to be overly mean-spirited like Terrifier, but it lacks the charisma and levity of those films. But just like Terrifier, the kills are spot on. I would not be surprised if this was a direct influence on the third film. I'm going to give it another shot. Watch it, celebrate, see if you feel the same, and drop back the next day, because December 20th is the 50th anniversary of the United States release of Bob Clark's Black Christmas. Yes, it came out in October in its native Canada, but regardless, the impact and the importance of this film cannot be overstated. It is always at least in the conversation as the first slasher movie. It is probably one of, if not the only one, that cannot be entirely ruled out. It served as template for countless other horror films going forward. It was the first one to do the holiday thing. John Carpenter himself has acknowledged that Halloween would not have happened without this film. And if you want to do some extra credit, double feature it with your favorite slasher movie. Because in a way, this is not only the 50th anniversary of Black Christmas, it's the 50th anniversary of the slasher movie proper. Or you can watch it with the other Christmas movie that Bob Clark made. Yes, really. I know you knew. Don't be a dick, you'd be surprised how many people still don't. So moving into the big week of the 22nd, I know whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or however or whatever you celebrate, you may need something that's family friendly. And Gremlins celebrated its 40th anniversary this past June. Yes, a Christmas horror movie in fucking June. Gremlins is a top 5 Christmas horror for me. I'd be watching it regardless, as I always do. Now, I do want you to get in some horror proper, but since you're gonna be pressed for time, just give me 22 minutes anytime that week for entry number 11 and watch the Tales from the Crypt episode and All Through the House. It is the second of the 3 episodes that aired back to back on the night of the series premiere of Tales from the Crypt. This episode in particular is written by Fred Decker, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring mom to the Monster Squad and the Goonies, Mary Ellen Trainor, and Dr. Giggles, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and Darkman star himself, Larry Drake. The episode chronicles a woman who offs her husband on Christmas Eve, only to find that a murderer has escaped the local institution and is trying to break into her house. They accomplish more in the 20 minutes that this episode runs than most movies do nowadays in 2 hours. It is my favorite episode of the series. I am dating myself, but I remember when this initially aired. It is regularly called the best of the series. I don't know if that show would have had the legacy that it does without this as the meat of that first sandwich. It is 35 years old this year, an unparalleled classic that does Killer Santa better than any film before or since has. Onward to Christmas Day itself, your 12th movie to see in December is Robert Eggers' 4th film and what looks to be his most straightforward horror, Nosferatu. A remake of the 1922 classic film, which itself was a ripoff of Dracula, Nosferatu is clearly coming out now as intended Oscar fare. Eggers' work has been nominated before. I don't know where I'm going to land on it. I'm not a huge Eggers guy, but given what I've seen thus far, I am cautiously optimistic. And as we wind down, finally, for your 13th film, we are going to honor the 35th anniversary of the Ghostbusters saving New York City for the second time on New Year's Eve, 1989, by watching Ghostbusters 2 on New Year's Eve. Because yes, that movie's finale does take place on New Year's Eve, but I never hear anybody talk about it as a New Year's movie. End the year with a new tradition. We can talk about Terror Train and New Year's Evil next year. That's gonna do it for today, creeps. Do all these things. Let me know which of these you're gonna be watching in December and which ones I missed right over here. And as always, this is all just a matter of opinion. See them yourself, make your own decisions, remain critical, support horror.